will be in your name. I used to be weak, but I'm not weak no more. I found the strength of my ancestors deep down in my African core. I used to be frightened, I'm not afraid no more. The Father bless me with the heart of a lion and a so no weapon that form against us shall not prevail. No man that rise against us, the war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, no, I will conquer, yes, I will conquer. Come on, let's conquer. No, I will conquer. Rise up and conquer them. Tell them no retreat, no surrender. I shall fight till the end of years. I was born as a Makai warrior, and the Almighty God my praise. Fire upon all Satan career. Father loose all shackles and chains. This morning first thing as I wake up, King David turns Sam to the brain. Don't let your courage go down, keep it up. And if your heart rip up and stitch it up, don't let your faith them fall, pick it up. When my cup was empty, God fill it up. Don't take the devil contract, rip it up. And if your bad mind people commit it up, pass me the Congo drum and let me beat it up. God on my side, me no give it so. No weapon that come against us shall not prevail. No man that rise against us, the war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, no, I will conquer, yes, I will conquer. Come on, let's conquer. No, I will conquer. Rise up and conquer. Thank you, Father. I want to say thank you, Lord. You're everything, Father. Thank you. Father, you alone shall guide me. No man shall lead my path. In the wind I hear your quiet whispers, and you heal my broken heart. Even some of my friends turned enemies, and they pray for right to feel. And remember, you gave us your only begotten son, but we gave him the wound of life. Send down your warriors with the hello. They carry down to the end of days. No matter how the devil try to trick me, unto you my soul I will give. Father, I know this time is coming. I can see the high tide raise. Without you there is no other. Could it be that we live in shall not prevail. No man that rise against us, that war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, no, I will conquer, yes, I will conquer. Come on, let's conquer. No, I will conquer. Rise up and conquer. I am a champion. I am a warrior. So who are you to tell me that I cannot make? Who are you to tell me that I am not the greatest thing that God ever created?
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada. A very special good morning to those of you joining us on the live video, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. And of course, a special good morning to those of you joining us on the various radio stations: 97.5 CitysoundFM, 89.5 CRFM, 91.9 and 91.5 RealFM Radio, 92.9 Sister Out Radio broadcasting in Hillsborough, Carriacou, and of course 94.9 We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn, New York. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning here in the Spice Isle of Grenada. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, everybody is up and out and getting business done, and that's the way we should be. This morning, I have a very special guest for you. We'll be talking about youth development, things that are available for youth right now. But before we get into that, I do want to do a little bit of housekeeping. There are a few things that I do need to let you guys know. One of which would be the meeting that is going to be held this afternoon in the area of Mount Morris. I believe it's at the primary school with the Honorable Minister for Hospital Services, Honorable Minister Delma Thomas. She's coming to discuss plans that they have to roll out for the medical station. If you listen to the post-cabinet briefing yesterday, she gave an extensive plan on what they want to do or what they want to achieve within her period in terms of health care and these things. So she'll be having a meeting tomorrow at the Mount Morris primary school so that they can update the people in that area on what is happening, what's going on, and what is to be expected at that time. Now, if you are on the live video and you're looking, you're going to see next to me there's an individual sitting here that is not Mr. Bowler. I have with me the coordinator of youth, Mr. Roydon Beharry, and this morning we talking youth things. We're talking about youth development. You know, oftentimes, and we've said it here, you hear the cry, oh, nothing is being done for the young people. More needs to be done for the young people. And when you ask the vital question, well, what do you suggest can be done? What do you think we can do or improve on? You don't get the answer. It's pure crickets. So this morning, we talking solutions. We talking programs that have already been established. We talking things that are going to be established. And we're talking about how we can help to make these things better, to improve on these things, to help them to grow. So that's what we're talking about this morning. Good morning, Roydon. How are you?
Good morning to you and to all the listeners on the various platforms that you're being carried live. I am doing fantastic. I am at a point this morning where I feel energized because I believe I have the breath of life. And every single day that I get the opportunity to provide a real, meaningful opportunity to the young people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, I feel elated because that alone is supposed to be able to energize us to the point where we feel like we have accomplish our mission right here on earth.
Amen. Oh, look at that. I like energetic people. I am energetic myself. So it seems like we're going to have some fun this morning. Now, Roydon, I know we have a lot of things to talk about, and I want to dig really deep into some of these programs. I know we've scratched the surface on some of the things that we've accomplished and some of the things that we're going to roll out, but I want us to go deeper into it. I want us to not scratch the surface, but I want us to dig into it to find out exactly what is it about, who are we engaging when we are looking at these things. That's what I want us to touch this morning. So let's quickly talk about some of the things that are currently available for young people. What is the Ministry of Youth Development doing as we speak right now?
Oh, definitely. I think that may just take us just about 4 to 5 hours, but I will try my best to see if I can provide a summary of each of the programs that we do have on the way at the moment and some of the brilliant areas that we'll be soon be seeing in Grenada. And I want to definitely start off with the new Imani program. I know it has always been the mouthpiece of a number of persons, whether it is the stakeholders, whether it is the participants, whether it is those that do not support the program. But what I can say to you is that the program is a real life-changing program. Right. And if I say that, I mean the new Imani program is one of our government's flagship programs that is actually implemented to provide the level of opportunities for young people in the areas of apprenticeship training, direct skills, as well as small business and a number of other areas. Right. Now, the program as it is at the moment, since the inception in 2013, we have had just over 5,100 new Imani trainees in the program. And I want persons to follow me carefully. Now, in 2013, we would have had just about 5,100 persons in the program. Right. In 2013, we would have taken in 2 batches of trainees, which was 1,000 in the months of July and 1,000 in the month of August. Right. We then go down to a batch 3 in the year 2014, and that was a total of 1,000. So do the maths with me. That's now 3,000. Right. In the year 2016, we took two batches. One batch that was in July of 2014, July in 2016, that was 750 trainees. And then we then took another batch in November of that same year of 850. Right? Now, when we, among the six batches of trainees, we actually had a total of just over 5,100. So 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 750, 500, and then 850 because we took 500 and 750 in the year of 2016. 2016, we didn't have a new batch. Our last batch of intake was in the year of 2018 because we try our best to use a 2-year span of the program. So it provides us with an opportunity where we can actually focus a lot on trying our best to see how we can transition persons out of the program into sustainable livelihood and sustainable pathway. Right. Now, our focus in the program is never and will never be just to get somebody into the program. You spend a few months, spend a few years, and we get you out. Right. Our plan as a responsible government must be to ensure that every young Grenadian that is afforded an opportunity in the New Imani program are provided with meaningful opportunity not to exit the program, but to transition into sustainable pathways.
Right. I know you have a lot of information, but I like to break it down so that my viewers get a clear idea of what's happening. So we have all of these trainees that have passed through and are currently in the Imani program. And one of the things that you mentioned is that you guys don't want them to just pass through or to be a part of, but to transition into something more productive. Now, one of the things that has been highlighted, I don't know if it's been exaggerated because I haven't really seen the figures the statistics that actually prove this. But one of the things that has been identified by individuals is that a lot of the Imanis come into the program where they're supposed to spend 2 years and then there's a lengthy period, or some of them, they come into the program, they transition out of the program, but they don't get into meaningful skills or meaningful trade. What would you say accounts for this this occurrence, and what has the ministry been doing, or in identifying that this may be a problem, has been doing to try and rectify it?
Good. So it's actually a very fitted question, and I think it's a question that I prefer to actually deal with at every opportunity that I get.
Right.
So before I even dive into this, I know you indicated that just about 5,100 persons in the program, but that has been the figure of the person that would have passed through the program.
Right.
At the moment, we just have about 2,000 persons in the New Imani program, which means that government was able to work along with our trainees, just about 3,000 trainees to get permanent placements. Some actually would have received permanent placements. Some actually would have moved over to reside in other countries. Some would have moved on to educational advancement. So there are quite a number of factors. But what I can say to you is that the New Imani program and the government of Grenada has contributed significantly and immensely to over 5,000 young Grenadians to date. And I have been a product of it. And I'm very proud.
Do you think that the trainees understand fully that this is a transition period? So, for example, you give a child an assignment and you say to them, at the end of this assignment, your performance will determine where you go from here. Do you think they understand that in full, knowing that this Imani program is not just a way to keep them engaged so that they won't be out on the street, but it's also for them to develop themselves career-wise so that they make an impact on whoever it is they come in contact with during this period that would leave a lasting impression, enough so that when they transition out of the Imani program, they can seek employment with these individuals? Definitely,
and you're correct. I think that's one of the fundamental things that we do in the program. Even before persons actually are taken into the New Imani program, a series of engagements are held with the participants, explaining to them what the objectives of the program is, what the objectives are. We also go to the point of bringing in motivational speakers to speak with them. We have a number of of orientation sessions happening. But apart from that, during the period in the program, we do have periodic mandatory engagements that we have with the trainees, reminding them of their responsibility, while we also share with them government's mandate for the program. But our aim is to always ensure that the trainees are fully aware of what the program is meant to be. And that is the reason why before every trainee comes into the program, they're provided with a memorandum of understanding. Apart from them going through the memorandum of understanding, the Division of Youth also takes the opportunity and go through the entire MOU with them and give them an opportunity to ask questions for any uncertainty or doubts that they may have had in their minds. They may have heard somebody say something that is totally untrue about the program. We ask them to share so that we have an opportunity where we can correct you and tell you what is the actual mandate of the program. So all of these are priority areas of us. And a matter of fact, if you ask me, our secretariat actually constantly share information about the program with our trainees. A matter of fact, when we even call mandatory meetings, you do have some person that will not come, but at the end of the day, we want to be able to say that we are playing our part when it comes to the information dissemination to our trainees, reminding them of their responsibility, while at the same time, we assure them of government's support towards their holistic development, not just being in the program, because we are not just concerned about a trainee being part of the Imani program. We are more concerned, if you ask me, about the transitional approach and the traditional opportunities available to our trainees of the program.
Well, I'm really happy that you said that, because it falls straight into my next question. What if I'm in the Imani program for my allotted amount of time, and it's time for me to transition out, but I haven't been able to secure any form of permanent position? What plan do you have in place, or does the ministry have in place, Ministry of Youth Development, for this kind of occurrence?
Definitely. So I think that is a very straightforward question to me. And it is demonstrated with our current trainees in the program. Every single one of them would have signed an MOU for 2 years engagement in the Imani program.
Right.
We do understand the economic hardship of quite a lot. We do understand the shortfalls of a number of families. We do understand the challenges that our young people confronted with.
Right.
And that is the reason why we are very understanding and knowledgeable of the challenge that a lot of young people face. Number one, not every single individual actually learn at the same rate.
Right.
So while somebody that may be able to grab all of the opportunities within the 2 years, we do understand that there are a number of persons. We have a number of persons that have not completed a secondary school education, number of persons that have not completed a primary school education, a number of persons have gotten to the point of receiving CVQs and so forth, where while they have not gone through the formal educational system, it does not define them getting an opportunity. So what we are working on, and we would have actually identified that as a challenge to a number of persons in the program. Now, it will be a bigger problem for us on a central government perspective of just taking this person and dumping them back on the streets. It means, therefore, that the fabric and the capacity that we have built for these young men and women will be shattered in the space of 1 hour. Right? So what we try our best to do is to work along with these persons. We do implement the social care unit, and we provide a lot more support, where we can actually provide a lot more guidance, counseling, and guidance direction to these persons. We are provided with an opportunity where these persons can be engaged and look at evaluation where they are placed at the moment. Is it a placement that provides viability and sustainability for our young people to excel and to move into some sustainable pathway? If it is not an area, what we have been doing in the past is to look at opportunities where we can move that person out of where they are if there are no vision. Right? Because you don't understand that somebody may start at a company. There may be an opportunity to gain permanent placement. There may be an opportunity to excel there. Challenges may have arisen for the company in itself. and they ought to make decisions. They may need to refocus the vision and mission as to why they exist now. They may have to refocus some of the decisions that they would have made even before that trainee was attached to that business place. What we try our best to do is to re-engineer the vision and the mission and the direction of that training so that we can get them on that sustainable pathway. And that is the reason why, as you speak to me now, we do have the team at the Secretariat working strongly and supporting the whole tradition of transitioning our trainees out of the Imani program but into sustainable livelihood, not back on the blocks. Because we believe that if we send persons that are in the program now back on the block, back in the community where there are no engagement, it means that government have a social responsibility now. And these persons come back into our dialogues and our system. They are the same ones that come back to the meeting and indicate, what are you doing? No, we are not saying that we must provide everyone with a fish. We must provide them with an opportunity to learn to fish. But we do understand that everybody will not be able to grab the opportunity to learn to fish, to get a fish, versus the people that have the capacity to go out there and fish.
I like that statement simply because it would lead on to my next point. There are instances, and there will be instances where there are people who don't understand what you can do is different from what you want to do.
Correct.
So I may go into the Imani program and look at the list because I've seen one of the forms of what my areas of interest are, and I'm assuming that you choose based on the area of interest what's available to them and so on. However, because I'm interested in being a doctor doesn't mean that I can. If I'm interested in being a secretary doesn't mean that I have the capability of doing it. So how do you guys identify these things? Because that can be a very difficult situation where somebody really wants to do something, but their abilities limit them from being successful in that area. Now, in that case, I would have spent a year in a specific field and I'm failing continuously at that in that area. Is there a way or a measure that you guys are using to identify these shortfalls and to redirect that person into something that may be more suitable for their skills?
Well, I'm starting to believe that you're a part of my strategic planning meeting, mainly because now in the program would have operated from the inception 2013 of the new Imani program. You do know that we had the Imani program before, and then it was rebranded to the new Imani program in 2013. Now in 2013. Up until to date, persons had an opportunity to share where the areas of interest lies, and then we will try our best at the Secretariat and at the Division of Youth to see how can we facilitate this request. Right? Now, what we have realized is that the market is becoming very saturated as it relates to the job opportunities and opportunities for sustainable livelihood.
Right.
As a result of this, we have partnered with the Central Statistics Office. As at the moment, we are currently concluding our demand skills survey, where we look at the needs of the market, of the labor market, and all of these things at the moment. Right. And as persons are taken into the Imani program, the areas of priorities will be identified with them, so their choices will be aligned with the demands of the market and the demands of the country, so that we know moving to a point of a very strategic interventional approach.
I love that.
Right? And that is the reason why at the moment we are just a few weeks away from actually receiving the final results. For example, I mean, while an area like underwater welding have not been an interest in the past, now there are a demand. Right. There is a demand for that area. Right. The areas such as accounts professionals, accounting clerks, and with QuickBooks and all of these things. So what we have been looking at the Secretariat, we was fortunate to look at galvanizing and compiling a listing of areas that businesses in Grenada, as well as businesses throughout the Caribbean, we do have trainees that are placed in other Caribbean countries as well. And it's important to know that persons should be aware that we don't just have trainees in Grenada. We have trainees that are also have been engaged at various companies outside of Grenada, while we do have trainees that actually was engaged at a regional and international level, and to date have gotten permanent placements from the opportunities provided to our partnership with these stakeholders. So what we are doing now is to focus our attention from a very strategic approach that can yield the benefit economically for our beautiful island of the state of Grenada, and not just giving a young man the opportunity to get into something that he likes. Sometimes what he or she likes is not an area where you're going to see sustainable pathway and transition where that young man will be able to stand on his own 2 feet after 2 years. So we have to be able to guide them. And that is the reason for our partnership with the Central Statistics Office, so that we look at a strategic approach for Imani trainees. And that is what we want to focus on, not just giving a participant of the new Imani program an opportunity. No. We are all about providing an opportunity for our trainees in the program where they can see themselves as their own bosses, or they can see themselves as a permanent trainee or permanent employee in any business that they go. We do understand the shortfalls, and we do understand that businesses will not be able to take everyone at the same time. But our approach and our mission, our vision of the program must be to transition persons out of the program to a higher point. So they come into the program with no CVQs, no qualifications. Now we actually say to our trainees, it is mandatory for you to achieve a CVQ that government is providing for you. Now it is up to you. You could choose that I don't want to do it, because we can't force somebody to actually get a CVQ. But what we want to do is to provide an opportunity where the person can actually upgrade themselves educationally, so that they can see themselves at a level 2, level 3, level 4, which is equivalent to an associate degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, even if that young man or that young woman did not get an opportunity to go to a formal primary or secondary school completion of the journey on the educational side.
I know you see me smiling, and I'm smiling because I feel like you've been listening to our program. I've spoken about this a lot, about conditioning our children, and I know conditioning is a strong word, but conditioning our children along the lines of the needs of the country. I know sometimes we say, oh, well, government is offering scholarships, but the scholarships are not aligned with what the needs of the countries are. And really and truly, how can you really tell a country who's offering you a scholarship what you want a scholarship in? Very rare you'd find situations where you're able to do that. But my thing is, and my take is, that when students go out to study, even at a college level, they must be able to access that same information that you are speaking of, that skills needs assessment that's being done. You know, what does the country need? Because if you are planning to work here in Grenada, then you must, of course, be able to meet the job market here in Grenada. You can't want to be a lawyer in a market that's oversaturated, or a doctor in a market that's oversaturated, you know, and things like that. If you, of course, plan to migrate out of Grenada, then fine. But I love that idea of being able to gear them in the right direction, you know, where it is needed, and not just everybody just want to apply for whatever it is they like to do. Me, I like to swim, so I want to become a swimming instructor. And you know, and there's no need for a swimming instructor really, you know, but you still want to become a swimming instructor. So after the Imani program places you with whatever a company does it, they have no need for you, because there isn't really an opening, there isn't a market. You're just there as a trainee. So I love that idea, and I think it's very important that people understand that. Now, my next question has to do with the formulation of cooperatives and NGOs within the Imani program. Has that been encouraged? Have you guys sat with the young people and said to them, okay, listen, if 6 or 7 of you come together, look, you good in accounting, you good in farming, you good in biology, you good in chemistry, and you guys come together and you form a cooperative in the field of agriculture or agro-processing or something along those lines, and guide them into different programs that the government has available to make that transition easy for them. Have you guys been doing that? Even the formation of NGOs, so they are able to support the economy, they are able to support development within Grenada. Because I mean, this is a lot of resources that the government is putting into these young people, and of course, at some point, we must yield our benefits from it. So, are we looking at NGO creations and cooperative creations for these young people, as opposed to just transitioning them out into a career-based opportunity or an entrepreneurial opportunity for themselves, but more where they can come together and even employ some of their same peers to work along with them?
Definitely. So I think at the moment, all of what you were speaking about are actually strategic focus of the New Imani program. At the moment, we are currently working on two main areas on the cooperative side, because you do understand that the establishment of a cooperative, it does not just come overnight.
Right.
It means that you have to cultivate the minds of young people,
Yes.
because of some past experiences that our others has been sharing with them, along a number of other challenges. But at the moment, I'm happy to indicate to you that at the moment, as you've realized, that I am wearing my New Imani program mask,
I
right?
see that, yes.
And this mask was produced by our team of trainees that are currently placed at our garment production cooperative that
Wow.
will be soon be rolled out to the general public, right?
Wow.
So we do have just about 25 young men and women that have been trained in the area of cooperative management, cooperative protocols and production, logistics and all of those things, the essentials of running the cooperatives, in partnership with some experienced persons that actually have the background and experience in the production of uniforms and so forth. And they are undergoing a number of training. Actually, some of them have been in the training for the last 2 years, because we believe that in getting into the area of cooperative, people must get to the point where they can actually see themselves working together. Because you do
Right.
understand
Yes.
that even just coming to work along with some people is a challenge for
Yes.
individuals. So we actually would have went through all of these areas, and we are now at the point of retrofitting the building
Right.
that we are now transforming to become the garment production factory in Grenada that will be producing a lot of the uniforms and so forth for a lot of our schools, as well as providing services to the general public. Already they were able to produce sample patterns of uniforms. They are, in the past month or so, they have produced almost 4,000 masks to trainees of the New Imani program, branded. I guess you would realize that our masks are branded because we are looking for opportunities to sell the program.
I hope you brought one as a gift for me.
I was waiting to repack yours, right? Yours must be delivered on a special package, right?
Okay.
So we are producing as part of their training. They have been providing masks for the persons involved in the New Imani program, as well as persons involved in the Empower project. We have received numerous calls from persons walking on the street with them, indicating that they would like to purchase some of our Imani masks. Why? Because it is a product that you've realized is well produced.
Yes.
It is well
Yes.
branded. We can also brand any mask that persons are looking for based on what you want to do.
So if I want my name on my mask,
Definitely,
or, some Hard Talk Grenada mask,
Definitely, all of these will be services that we actually will be providing.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that to show that our trainees that are part of that program, they're not leaving any stone unturned as it relates to the opportunities that are available to them.
Right.
Apart from that, we do have our partnership cooperative that we are working closely with the Ministry of Agriculture on for our Youth in Agriculture project. Already we have identified a number of the young persons that actually have gotten some level of training.
Right.
Some have been to the Maribor Farm School and all of those things already. And we are now working closely with central government to see how we can facilitate the provision of some of our government lands and government estates, so that our young people can form themselves into cooperative to actually get into involved in a number of areas that relates to agriculture. So all of these steps have already been passed at the moment. We are now just finalizing a few details currently so that we can actually get into the next leg, the next phase of the implementation of our youth in agriculture cooperative. And that is the reason why we are trying our best not to bite too much that we can chew at any one time, because we want to ensure that the foundation of the establishment of these cooperatives are one that is built on strong pillars linked to the 2035 document that we are working along with, while at the same time looking at the demands of the market so that we can now align the cooperative formation in alignment to these pillars that we are currently closely working with. But our biggest word here is partnership in actually getting these areas completed.
All right. I don't want us to talk too much about youth in agriculture yet, because we've only touched the surface of one program so far.
Yes.
But we're getting there. We want to go, somebody's asking here, will you be shipping masks to Canada? They need one.
Right. So I guess we because we would have just done extensive work on the profitability and so forth of the company.
Right.
Now, to send one mask may not be the best, but what we can do is that I sure the person may have persons in Grenada that we can provide the services to, and definitely they can actually send it off because of the unproductive nature of sending one mask.
Or a group of people in the diaspora want to purchase.
That person may just want to be our ambassador for the Imani program over in Canada, where they can help sell the actual mandate of the program and actually sell some of the services that the program is actually providing, as well as our youth-based program is providing for our people. So that might just be a perfect opportunity to start.
All right. Now, my next question, I want to structure it. Let me settle myself properly, because I want to structure it properly. Mm-hmm. Now, it has been said that the Imani program is only available for people who are from a particular political affiliation. And the reason I ask that question is because I've seen the form, and on the form, nowhere does it ask that. I would sometimes think that maybe they want to attribute that to the fact that people go to the parliamentary representative's office to sometimes apply. Of course, that is a government facility, but there are people out there pushing a different narrative. What I really want to ask is, can an individual, a young person, regardless of political affiliation, who doesn't feel comfortable going to the constituency office to register, can they walk into the Ministry of Youth Development and apply to be a member of the Imani program? Wow.
I think that's a question that is very fitting. A matter of fact, and I first want to begin by actually debunking this connotation that the Imani program is only for persons that supports the political party. No. Right. As our trainers will say to you, we just completed a series of meetings at all of our constituencies, and I spoke at most of them. And they would say to you that one thing that was part of my presentation is to remind them that the Imani program does not exist for just party politics. No. Right. The Imani program exists to provide meaningful opportunity for every Grenadian who are between the ages of 18 to 35. Okay. That is the reason why nowhere on our application form indicated that one of the criteria have to be that you support a political party, or you have to be aligned with a political party. A matter of fact, if you ask me at the moment, if all of the persons in the Imani program supports a political party, I would say to you, while I cannot answer that because persons may have their personal freedom of expression, but what I can say based of the position that I am in is that no way, no person at the Imani Secretariat promotes political agendas. Right. And that have to be made abundantly clear. I know some persons will hit the airwaves and hit the social media and want to encourage people to believe that the Imani program is in 100% existing only as a political mouthpiece. I want to make it abundantly clear to all and sundry that the Imani program focus is not that. Right. And if you really care about the development of our young people, that will not be something that you're trying to convince them about.
Right.
Because you do know that there are many people that don't support government at this moment, and they're part of the Imani program.
Right.
That is not our mandate. A matter of fact, if you say to me that we have to get each person to support a particular political party, that is not our agenda, because the role of government and the role of the division of youth is to provide an enabling environment for every young Grenadian who desire an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? And that is the reason why it is important to make that very, very clear. And that is why even at this moment, persons that are seeking an opportunity in the new Imani program, they can log on to www.gov.gd. They can go under the Government of Grenada, our current ministry, go down to the Division of Youth, and they can actually access the form. They can complete a form online and send to us without us even seeing who the individual is.
Right.
Apart from that, the visitation to the parliamentary representative's office to drop a form or to collect a form is an option that persons have. The central location for all of our Imani forms and application, we have always said it in the past and continue to say it, is the youth center, which house our new Imani secretariat.
Okay.
We do accept forms at our mainstream ministry, at the Ministry of Youth, that is based at the Botanical Garden. So we give persons an option to actually collect the form and drop off their forms.
Right. And I think the representative office, I would assume, would have been considered because of its accessibility. But if I want to, and I don't feel comfortable going there, I can go to the youth center, deliver my form, or I could just go online and do it electronically.
You can sit you can sit in the comfort of your house on your bed. You can complete a form and you hit the send button and it comes to us.
All right. Have you guys ever had an issue where you have a certain quota of trainees that you want to meet, but you've never been able to meet that quota for lack of application?
Well, I would say to you that we have always have more applications than we even need.
Okay.
At the moment, as you're aware, that we are gearing up to actually take in another batch of trainees into the program, right? And that will be just around between 600 and 800 trainees.
Well, I didn't know that.
Right, and that is coming on stream very soon in a matter of days. Right. Now, a lot of these persons are persons that have actually applied to the Imani program. A matter of fact, if you ask me, some of the persons, we are not even aware who the persons are. Right. But based on the opportunities and the applications, they actually were screened and accepted for inclusion into the batch 7 of the program. Right. But at the moment, we do not have a situation where we don't have enough people. A matter of fact, even with the intake of the next 600 to 800 persons thereabout, persons in the new batch, which is batch 7 of the program, we have quite almost 5,000 persons on a waiting list. Now, we will never be able to provide an opportunity to every single Grenadian who applies to the Imani program. Similarly, job vacancy may be advertised, and a placement site may have 6 or 7 or 8 persons with the same kind of qualifications, same kind of opportunities, same kind of experience, and you have to choose among it. It's the same thing with the new Imani program. There is a selection committee that have to go through all of it. And if you ask me, I am also not even part of the screening process to select our trainees. Our program manager and a team of persons, they have its own integrity in the program that goes through it. So I don't have that leeway. Somebody might see me as a director of youth and say that that's a director of youth, so he must know whether or not I can get through with it. There is a process. There is a pathway in the Imani Secretariat that we all follow as it relates to a number of the operationalized areas of the new Imani program. So sometimes I think some people are, and I want to make it very clear, they are fully well aware of what our processes are. But yet there will be that ambit and that perception that they would want to bring to the general public that this is not the case. But what I'm saying to you is exactly the case for the new Imani program. But it is also important to note that we will never and will never be able to actually take in every single person that applies.
Right.
Because you do understand our budgetary allocations, you do understand our budgetary constraints. Additionally, with the COVID period, government could have decided that with all of what is happening, we have to cancel the intake of another batch.
Well, I'm actually surprised that you guys are taking in 800 more trainees, and I'm in my mind it's saying it, and I'm wondering, Lord, where this money coming from?
Right, so it is between 6 to 8, and that is the reason why I would say to you, all of the monies don't come from central government.
Right.
We do have a 50-50 policy in place where we get our stakeholders. Now, in the event that we have stakeholders that may have a challenge, we may give them a period of time to actually put their house in order before we actually go straight with the 50-50. But the stakeholders have been contributing. A matter of fact, some of our current trainees at this moment, half or sometimes even more than half in some cases, are contributed by the stakeholders. So sometimes we believe that it is always the taxpayers' monies that are paying for all of our trainees in the program. No, that is not the case. Right. We do have a high percentage, a percentage of our stakeholders that are contributing towards the payment of the stipend. A matter of fact, we do have trainees in the program now that is receiving the contribution from us, our portion, and we do have instances where our stakeholders are paying trainees all up to $1,000 more than what the stipend is. Yes, based on the areas of placement. So it is always a fluid situation where one size cannot fit all, but it's always a situation where we encourage our stakeholders to get on board, and that is why we're stressing that partnership agreement. We cannot do it alone as government. We cannot do it alone as a division of youth or as a ministry, but we are guaranteeing you that we will be able to do it with the partnership of the private sector. That is where our success will lie.
All right. I want us to now move into challenges, because as we know, the Imani program isn't perfect. As per a lot of things in life, it's not perfect. And in order for things to grow and develop, you must first identify that there are challenges. Once you've reached your limit and there's nowhere to go, then that means you have a problem. There's always room for growth. So what are some of the direct challenges that you guys have with or in the Imani program?
So if you ask me what are some of the challenges that our program itself face at the moment, I would say to you, one is pivotal on the list is our ability to transition the persons out. Now, while it is our mandate and it is our focus at the moment on the transitional approach, and it has not just become our area of focus as the Prime Minister would have taken over the hem of the Division of Youth. It has always been our focus because we believe that the success of the New Imani program is hinged primarily on our ability to transition people out of the program into sustainable pathways. But with the challenges, we do have a very small economic and business environment, or a number of businesses that currently exist in Grenada. Because we are that small, our potential for intake and to permanent engagement are also limited, right? But we stress the importance of actually the stakeholders taking in the trainees as soon as they can financially. We do understand that the challenges that some of our businesses are faced with at the moment, not just now, is the whole aspect of the profitability of some companies, the sustainabilities of some of the companies, and they do have a number of external factors. We do have a lot of companies where we do have trainees that may have parent bodies that managing them. They may have policies, just as our government have its own attrition policy. We do have a number of companies that have the challenges. But apart from that transitional side of it, we do have persons that come into the program that will not be able to gain the capacity that we want them to gain within the 2 years. So, and as a result, we as a responsible government, we do not just want to dump that person on the wayside, but we want to be able to work with that person. So the learnability of some of our individuals is also an area that we have placed primary focus on. It's one of the areas that has and will always provide a challenge to the program in its entirety. The other area is the area of, while there are businesses that may not be in a position to take trainees based on different time slots, we do have stakeholders that have opportunities existing that will not provide it to a trainee. And that is one of the areas that we want to zero in on. Because as we move forward, specific emphasis is placed on these type of businesses. And we have no problem, as we have said in the past, that if it's a situation where we believe that a placement site is taking advantage of a training, where there is opportunity, you're taking in permanent persons over trainees that are actually doing the job, have the right attitude, qualification, experience, these are places that we prefer to remove our trainees. Right. Because if we provide you with an opportunity for a trainee to be engaged for 2 years, and there is an opportunity or there are opportunities existing for you to actually take that trainee permanently, now the opportunity should be given to that trainee. Right. And I want to sound that alarm very, very loud to our stakeholders that are engaging in these practices. We have already blacklisted some companies. And that is how far we intend to go. Right. Of businesses that believe that they must take the Imani program as a puppet. Right. I am only there for the government to pay you the half. Or that trainee is only here because they're providing additional human resource. And while they can do it, let me take somebody outside of the Imani program. Yeah. Because the Imani program will continue to provide funding of that 50% to the trainee. No, it will not happen. So that is the reason why we are currently engaged at the moment with the implementation of a 360 evaluation of every single trainee in the Imani program. So we do have interviews going on right now. We would have started last Monday of last week, where our on-the-job supervisor, together with the Imani field supervisor and the training, as well as in instances where there might be a school or so, the principal sits in to do a fair and just evaluation for every trainee, with the hope that some of the stakeholders will take an opportunity to keep that trainee permanently if you realize that the trainee is adding a valid valuable value and essentials to your business, because it will be a situation whereby, yes, you might be an Imani trainee placed at X location performing exceptional support in the area of accounting. Now, if that placement site is not taking that trainee seriously in taking them into the program, another trainee, another stakeholder may ask for a trainee with that type of background, and we will remove the trainee from where they are. So it means that that business stands to lose. If it's a situation where, when we pull the history of the stakeholder, we've realized that a trainee was attached to the place for 4, 5, 6 years, doing the job, not given an opportunity to get a permanent job. Now that stakeholder cannot expect the new Imani Secretariat to attach a new trainee to you. Right. Because it means that the same treatment that you're giving is the same treatment that you expect to give our trainees in the coming batches.
Okay, wow. And I mean, that is a wealth of information. And that's why I like to take this opportunity to go deeper into these programs so that we are able to identify some of the problems and of course some of the achievements that these programs have, because without this deep information, then we wouldn't be able to know all of the wonderful things that are happening, all of the partnerships that you guys are making, and all of these things that will keep the program running. And you know, it's an opportunity for us to really sit down and look at these programs, and instead of condemning and instead of looking for ways in which we can devalue the program, look for ways in which we can encourage more young people to join these programs. Look for ways in which we can add value to these programs, add suggestions to these programs, and not vilify them. You know, because as you've mentioned, and with a lot of information, so many of the things that this program stands to accomplish, and so many of the things that you guys have already accomplished, and it's great. However, we want to move into another program because we spent quite a bit of time, and I know there's a lot more information on Imani that we can give.
But even before we move on to another program, I also want to stress the importance that our trainees in the Imani program do get an opportunity to be supported while during our scholarship. So what we try our best to do is to promote educational advancement for all of our trainees, because we do understand that trainees will enter the program at one level, but we don't want every trainee to remain at that level. So at our scholarship unit, we have trainees at the moment, as I'm speaking to you, in China, in Jamaica, New York in the College of Technology. We have in Russia. We have in Barbados. We have in Guyana. We have in Cuba. We have in Beijing University, Louisiana, Trinidad, Southern Caribbean University. We have in the areas of associate degrees. We have a number of persons right now at TAMCC from 2016 to now that have graduated, many of them of whom have graduated with honors at these institutions. We have at the University of the West Indies in Trinidad, Jamaica, and Barbados, University of Trinidad. We have in Texas. We have in community colleges across the world, Mississippi State University, Friendship Universities in Russia, and all of these places. So we have a number of trainees at the moment that are receiving support from the Division of Youth, promoting that whole education advancement ambit and mantra, because we want our trainees to succeed.
Right.
We don't want our trainees to just remain a trainee of the New Imani program. But you understand that sometimes if you are not provided with the support, there may be demotivation along the way. And that is why we are placing a lot of emphasis on the areas of educational advancement, while at the end of the day, we have broadened and expanded our transition unit at the Division of Youth, where we are providing direct support to our businesses, where our trainees will be seeing our transition officers. Our transition officers are working directly with our stakeholders where our Imanis are placed to ensure that every opportunity that becomes available and a trainee is qualified should be given to them. And that is the reason why heavy emphasis is placed on that area, while at the same time we have in the past we had a social care officer. Now we have expanded our social care officer area to a social care unit, where we now have 7 social care personnel. So imagine the jump. We would have moved from 1 person to 7 persons, including Carriacou and P.T. Matnick, as well as having our social care mentors that provide mentorship to our persons in the New Imani program and Empower program that is a priority, while at the same time is providing the same service to persons that are part of our other auxiliary participatory and rehabilitation and small business programs of the Division of Youth. So I'm saying it to say that it's not just about a trainee coming in and getting out, but we are providing a holistic support package for every single trainee of our programs that currently exists at the Division of Youth.
Wow, that is extensive. It is extensive. I mean, I'm listening to all of this and I'm learning so many new things about the Imani program, so much in-depth information as it relates to what is happening with the program, what the program offers, what's available to young people, and so on. And I love the idea that the young people are being trained in cooperatives, because I think that's a big step for us here in Grenada. The development of cooperatives by our young people. You know, I know we speak a lot about people who are already in business, people who are already in agriculture to form these cooperatives and so on. But I think more young people should be encouraged, because at some point we have to understand that government is not going to be able to do for everybody. You know, but support can be given as much as possible in these areas. However, it's not only the responsibility of the government to reach out to young people, but the responsibility of young people to bring their proposals and ideas to government. So often you hear, oh, well, not enough is being done. The youth is not being engaged enough, you know. But I firmly believe that there are times when if you want something bad enough, you have to reach out and get it.
You're correct.
You have to reach out and get it. So even the formation of proposals, because for example, government can say, okay, well, we want to help. How would you like us to help you?
That's it.
But if I ask you how you would like me to help you and you can't tell me, then why are you asking for help to begin with?
That's it.
You know? So I think it's important that in our cry for help as young people, we know what we want help in, what areas, what proposals, what am I doing to start that I need assistance in? Because in order to get assistance, you must have started something to begin with, you know? So I think that is important, and it's an important conversation. It's an important concept for our young people to understand in this a new era where we're fighting for young people, as they call it, right? And that is an important conversation that we must have with our young people.
And that is the reason why we always operate an open door policy at the Division of Youth, whereby persons who have valid contributions to make as it relates to any of our programs, including the New Imani program. And sometimes you hear people on the social media platforms and on the Facebook and on the lives and so forth speaks about a lot of the information about the New Imani program. But I always ask the question, have you offered yourself to us to actually hear from you? Have you engaged us with your suggestions so that we can actually share with you what the actual realization of the information that you're speaking about is? Or is it a situation where are you willing? Because I always say to people, I welcome all of the complaints. I welcome all of the miscommunications that persons may have. But are you also willing to work with us so that we can correct some of your misinformation? And in areas where your information may be correct, are you willing to work with us to fix it? Because it's one thing to talk, but I am interested, the Division of Youth, we are interested in you being part of walking the walk. That is important. And that is the reason why, as we bring the curtains down on the discussion with Imani before we go into another program, already based on our statistics and our data at the Secretariat, we have already prioritized some areas of focus moving forward that are tentatively in alignment to what our demands skills survey are indicating towards. We have about 8 or 9 areas in the areas of ICT, web designing, mobile app development, printing and graphics, as well as digital animation. These are some of the areas. In the areas of creative arts, we have the whole aspect of performing arts as well as live song engineers. Gone was the days when we have to bring up an engineer from Trinidad. Very soon, our Imani trainees will be qualified because our aim is to ensure that we provide them with the hand-holding support where they can become the best self. The areas of administration, accounting clerks, as well as business administrators, food and beverages, the bartending and the commercial food and beverages preparation, building construction, in the areas of furniture making, carpentry, wall and floor tiling, interior designs, electrical maintenance are some. Health, we have patient care. That's a big thing for us at the moment. So that is definitely one of the areas that we are placing some energy in. As well as in the marine industry, we are looking at some of the areas such as marine electrical, marine welding, as well as small business engagement and the whole aspect of youth in agriculture. So these are some of the strategic approaches that we are actually going full speed ahead with, ensuring that our young people are aligned. The vision, the direction, the mission are aligned with some of the areas where there are demands in the market for at the moment, where at the end of the 2 years or at the end of their engagement into the life skills and so forth. And I want to say to you, we do have trainees that have not lasted more than 6 months in the Imani program. We do have companies that actually have engaged an Imani trainee, and after 2 months, they have written to us and said to us, I'm taking that training permanently. And I want to salute all of the businesses that continue to work with us wholeheartedly, because I'm telling you, we do have businesses in Grenada. While some people may have a lot of negative to say, we do have businesses in Grenada that support the mission of the New Imani program. They do see the value, the vision and the value of the program. We do have companies right now, when service providers and when customers enter the business, who are the ones that are dealing with you and providing the service and the services are our New Imani program. But when you look at some of our trainees, they are so professional. While I agree that we do have some that we have to work along with, because we do understand various persons are coming from various backgrounds, their family structure, their upbringing, their opportunities, their attitude. So it's a work in progress. We cannot expect all of our trainees to be at the same level at the same time. And that is the one thing that we will not admit, right? So I'm saying to you that we are willing and ready to continue working along with our trainees of the New Imani program so that they can become the best selves.
All right. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a short break because that's a wealth of information. We need to take a deep breath after all of that before we move into another program. And we have about 35. You see how the time goes?
Jesus Christ. I tell you, I needed 4 hours. Whenever you bring the Division of Youth to this station here, please allocate about 4
About
hours
4
because we
hours.
do
I'll
have
do
so
that.
much that is happening that I know even our general public are knowledgeable of because we have seen an increase in our information sharing. Social media, radio, television, people are seeing
Right.
because we have to be relevant for our demographic that we are dealing with at the moment.
Yes.
So we definitely going to be working on it.
And I encourage that. Maybe we probably just need to have more engagements on
Yes.
a more regular basis so,
you
that
can give
all
us-
of that information
You can give us
doesn't
once a
pile
week.
up.
You can give us once bi-weekly. Give us, just tell us because we have quite a lot to share.
Absolutely. So, guys, we're going to take a short break and then we'll be back with more conversation. We have about 35 or so minutes left and we want to at least scratch the surface of 2 more programs.
Not two. We have quite a lot. I will be touching all through in our 30 minutes.
Well, we'll see how
Yes.
that goes. So we're going to take a short break, guys, and then we will be back with more conversation. Stay tuned, guys.
Wednesday, October. These are your government notices for today, Wednesday, October 21st, 2020. I am Carleen Peters. The Ministry of Education, Human Resource Development, Religious Affairs, and Information hereby informs the general public that the Grenada Houston Association is offering scholarships to assist secondary and tertiary level students. It's being offered to students in the fields of science, agriculture, or other interdisciplinary areas for the academic year 2020 to 2021. Applicants must be from Forms 3 and 4 at the secondary level or be a TA Maricho Community College student in the specific subject areas. Tertiary applicants must have career direction related to the agriculture industry, a health-related field, or other interdisciplinary areas for the development of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, and must define their career goals. Completed applications must reach the Human Resource Development Division or Scholarship Desk no later than Friday, November 27th, 2020. For further information and guidance, please contact the Human Resource Development Division at the Ministry of Education on telephone number 440-2737 or 417-9762. The Ministry of Health invites residents of the Mount Morris and surrounding areas to a very important meeting today, Wednesday, October 21st, 2020. The discussion pertains to the Mount Morris Medical Station. The meeting will commence at 6 p.m. at the Mount Morris Anglican Primary School. Health personnel, government officials, and residents will engage in discussions regarding the future of the medical station. The ministry looks forward to welcoming all residents and anticipates a very successful meeting. The National Ecumenical Service of Thanksgiving in collaboration with the Conference of Churches of Grenada will be held on Sunday, October 25th, 2020, commencing at 3 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center, Montrouge, St. George. It will be guided by the theme Giving Thanks for New Beginnings and will be conducted in keeping with the established COVID-19 protocols. To view the service live, tune in to GIS Channel 22 or the Government Information Service Facebook page. The Ministry of Education, Human Resource Development, Religious Affairs, and Information hereby informs the public that the Ministry, in conjunction with the Child Month Committee, has decided that the 2020 Child Month activities will be celebrated until November 15th, 2020. Although the entire month of October is officially designated as Child Month, this change became necessary given the need to prioritize alternative arrangements to support parents and teachers for the safe reopening of schools. The Child Month Committee has decided that the theme for Child Month 2020 is keeping all our children safe. The focus will therefore be on health and safety during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Grenada Cooperative Nutmeg Association is informing the general public of the nutmeg buying schedule, so farmers could be aware that the buying day officially starts today, Wednesday, October 21st, 2020. And now for your government reminder. Before you travel, make your reservations at an approved state travel accommodations. The list of safe travel approved accommodations have been inspected and certified and are ready to welcome visitors. Fill out online pre-travel information and upload relevant documentation if required. Then download the contact tracing app and register prior to travel. All forms, apps, and information can be found at covid19.gov.gd. These have been your government notices for today, Wednesday, October 21st, 2020.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
And there is listen, Mr. Beharry, Roydon just give me a paper there with so many more initiatives to talk about. I don't know how you have, well, you don't even have, you have 35 minutes left to talk about all of these things. We have Empower, we have Fly, we have Social Unit, we have Youth Biz. I feel I want to hear about Youth Biz first, and maybe Empower after. I want to spend some time on those two. Let's talk about Youth Biz. What is Youth Biz all about? I'm hearing about it. I'm hearing about this new program for young people. Tell us, give us a more in-depth detail what Youth Biz is really all about.
Definitely. So our Youth Biz program project was formerly known as the Grenada Youth Enterprise Initiative. In partnership with the Grenada Development Bank as our disburse agent. But it's one of our programs at the Division of Youth where government side fit in to provide another opportunity for young persons who may not have all of the securities and so forth that are required to actually get into business. That person may have a brilliant idea, a brilliant business concept and so forth, and they don't they are not at the point of having the security to go to the lending institution like a bank or a credit union and so forth. In cases like these, what we have done 2 years ago, we would have rebranded the Youth Enterprise Initiative to our Youth Biz program, which stands for Youth Business. We actually roll out an entire business support center at downstairs the pavilion in Victoria. Right. Very professional, pleasant staff awaits you to work along with you. And what we do, persons go into our business support center as well as visit us at the Ministry of Youth. They will complete an application form. And once that is completed, we put them on the next available training list for training and development. We actually undergo the business we do all of the business labs with the young persons that are available, as well as providing an opportunity where they can actually learn to develop their plan. So it's not a situation where we train people and then they go and they get someone to pay to do a business plan for them.
Right.
What we do, we assist them to put all of the concepts together. You may get someone to help shape the final product of your business plan. But it should never be a situation where that young person come to a training and they just go by Tom, Dick, or Harry to do a business plan with you. It means that when your business fails, you would not even realize when your business is failing.
Right.
So we work along with them. Once that is completed, they will work on the business plan. It goes before the committee. The committee will review it. If there are any corrections, any changes, any areas that we see will not be viable for the business area that they want to get into. If we've realized that the feasibility study was not conducted, they did not test the market, all of those things we look at holistically. And then we actually, once it satisfies the criteria to get the loan is provided, not in cash in hand, but they provide the invoices and so forth. We make the payments to the service providers and the items are made available to that person to get into the business.
Right.
Now, it does not stop there because we are providing a package, a basket of service for our young people that are involved in the Youth Based project. So what are we doing? After we fund, we provide mentorship support. We provide additional training on a quarterly basis, whether it is in bookkeeping, maintaining your financials, management, leadership. All of these are areas that we focus on and more. And we also provide an opportunity where you can get additional marketing services for the small businesses. So we ask them to provide us with your flyer, provide us with your products that you have. We share it on all of our mediums where that young people can actually support them. We do have opportunities where these young people getting into businesses based on the product line. We have people that actually, even out of Grenada, would have actually order from businesses here when we share some of the services that are provided. And we do provide additional marketing support like business card printing, printing services. We provide business development. We have an actual business development officer as well as a junior business development officer that focus on monitoring of our trainees where they go into the field. The person that we have funded under that program, they at least get a visit from our business development officers as frequent as possible so that we could track, we could see areas that we would like you to improve on, not because we just want to do it, but it's because we care about the small businesses and the viability of the businesses and showing that it can be around for a very long time. Right. And not just that you're starting into it, you end up in some problem, you have some challenges, because getting into any business is the easiest part.
Yeah.
Managing effectively the business that you set up is the major task. Yes. Some people may not have all of the qualities, they may not have all of the essentials, and neither do they have the right people positioned around them to provide that support. But we believe that if we provide that hand-holding relationship to our beneficiaries, we may be able to avoid a business from getting into the pitfall that it may get into if they don't have the support. We are also getting into to that new line where we are now going to be providing some mentors for our businesses, so that young men that have a business in the area of poultry, who are some of the successful poultry producers around. Now, how can we link that person to be a mentee to that person? And that is what we are looking at. How can we not just provide funding, but how can we provide a sustainable pathway for young people to actually gain that financial benefit that you're looking for? And that is the reason why in the beginning I keep stressing the word strategic intervention and partnership, because we cannot do it alone. But even if we want to do more with the limited resources that we may have, whether it is financial resources or otherwise, we must strategically use these resources for the betterment of that young person. And that is what we are all about at the Division of Youth Development, creating opportunities for young people.
Wow, that is amazing. I mean, it's amazing. I'm hearing all of these things and I'm getting chills, because I'm saying to myself, just with the Imani program alone and what you've explained about the Youth Biz, that in itself is a massive opportunity that young people should take advantage of. And that is why I often say, when we are asking for more to be done, what exactly are we referring to? You know, because these two opportunities alone, one opportunity provides training, transitioning into a career or into being an entrepreneur. The other provides funding and scaffolding for that business that you plan to go into. So how can you go wrong with these two? Now, what are some of the challenges that you guys are experiencing with in the Youth Biz program as it relates to young people and starting a business or accessing the resources and so on?
So even before I go into the challenges, I want to also make the point that thus far, since the rebranding, about just over a year, we would have disbursed over 550 loans already to our small business. Right. We would have disbursed over 530. We do have, at the moment, presently, we meet tomorrow to look at another batch of 15 to 20 business proposals from young people that has been working on it for the last maybe 6 months or so, their business plans. And it's estimated to almost another 300 $550,000 in small business grant supports.
I want to just pause for a moment.
Yeah.
So the 550 we are speaking about are 550 individual young people who want to start a business, who have sought support and received that support from the WeiVybz program. 550 young entrepreneurs.
No. So what it is just over $530,000 disbursed.
Okay.
Now persons can get up to 25. So someone may have a business plan. They can apply for up to $25,000.
Okay.
Right? That's the maximum.
25,000.
However, we do have persons that based on the business that they're getting into, they may already have some startup capital in an informal business arrangement and may need a small loan of about $10,000 to actually restructure that business support. We do that.
Right.
So thus far, when we incorporate it, it may just be just over almost I would say 40 or 50 persons that have will be receiving business support from us. And that is people that actually would have sent in the business plan, been to the training, and a lot of the times we don't just say that we want to fund 15 persons. So we're going to take in 15. Sometimes we train up to 30, 40 people. Right? And we say to you now, after we worked on delivering and working with you to get the skeleton of your business plan set up. Now we want you now to flesh it out and put it together, formalize it now. Let's go, and then you resubmit it to us. And we actually take in, there is nobody that will actually submit a business plan to us and we realize that it is a viable idea, that we will turn it down. No, a matter of fact, we are also heading into the area where we can prioritize the area of focus because we don't want to be giving everyone an opportunity to get a small business to open a shop when there is a shop right around every little corner and there is no demands for it. But if there are demands for the creative areas, the innovative area, how can you utilize our products and services to actually tap into the demands of the market? Now that is what we are looking for. That unusual business proposals that we know can bring you millions, we are ready to support you in any of these areas.
That is beautiful.
And that is why even the business, the garment production falls under our WeiVybz component because it is one of the small business area that focuses on the cooperative formation, the small business management. And because the WeiVybz project is the umbrella body for everything cooperative and small business, it is part of the ambit of the WeiVybz unit at the division. And as we speak, only last week we completed our last training in St. Mark's. We had 12 participants completing our business development training. At the National Stadium, we had 25. Normally, on average, on a normal training basis, we will train about 20 people. Because of the demands that persons have into the small business area, we actually would have moved from 20 to almost 37 people. And that is a big jump for us because normally we don't go beyond 20 because we try to make it manageable. And that is the reason why in 2020, for this last round of training, we had to actually do 2 centers instead of 1 center. And we do understand that we do have a lot of persons from the rural communities, St. Patrick, the rural parishes, St. Patrick, St. Mark, St. John. And that is why we would have specifically and strategically engaged a center on that side of the island for trainees up there and one in the vicinity of St. George that takes care of other trainees that are in the proximity of St. George, St. David's, and the lower ends of St. Andrew. So we are doing our best to ensure that we provide the real opportunities for young people.
All right, let's go to Empower. Tell us a little bit more about what the Empower program is all about, what it seeks to achieve.
Definitely. So the Empower project is one of our projects that actually stems from a discussion and a visit by Prime Minister at one of our meetings when he thought the ratio of females to male was about 99% to the males that was in the room. So we had it, and a matter of fact, it is a fact that a high percentage of the trainees in the New Imani program are females. And it could be because of a number of reasons beyond our control. And we have always encouraged men to be part of the Imani program. But because of the gap, as it relates to the female to male, we actually would have worked on the advice of Prime Minister when he attended that meeting with us on a project for men. Even our name for the project came up name of the project came up by the men in the program. The outline of the project was developed by the young men. Right. We have been the one that formalized it, but they have been the one in the think tank opportunities that we presented for them to say what they think the program should be designed for. Right. And that is why when at our first intake in the project in 2018, because the first intake was 2018 to 2019, right? It was a situation where we had about 500 men into the Empower project. And a number of them got an opportunity to attain CVQs. A number of them received permanent placement. As a matter of fact, you could visit the Ministry of Labor right now. And the young gentleman that is professionally dressed, providing the service to you at the Ministry of Labor, is one of our past Empower participants, well qualified, but came from the blocks. It could have been a situation where various reasons, family support, the guidance and so forth, but today he is living his best self. And he made a statement to us and he said, the Empower project helped polish the diamond in me. And that's a very strong statement. It means that he knew that he had a diamond, but it took the Empower project to help polish it and shine that diamond so that he can now use that diamond to shine among other young men in the program. And that program continued to bear a lot of benefit. At the moment, we have received requests from Tobago, Trinidad. They are now piloting Empower TT. Because they would have seen the benefit of the Empower project. And what is important to note is that our Empower young men are not men that are handpicked. Our youth officers, our people at the field, our persons that are working in the communities have directed us to persons, and we had no qualms with it. Once there was an interest in the Empower project, we give them an opportunity, and that program runs for 1 full year. Additionally, apart from the program, and I think what is interesting to the program, we have connected the project itself to a grant fund. So at the end of the project, all of the persons that successfully maintain the regulations of the program, maintain the completion of the program, they are eligible to receive the grant fund. Now, that grant fund is a situation where...
I feel like I don't want to join the Empower program now.
So it is a situation where we save $100 from every participant stipend. And then government matches that with the next $100 each month so that our young people can transition into sustainable livelihood. So, for example...
I want you to just slow it down and repeat it again for the people in the back to hear.
So it is a situation where we connect a grant fund approach to all of our participants in the Empower project. So all of the participants in the Empower project, we save $100 from the stipend each month for them, like a susu. Right? And then we matches that with our grant fund transformational fund, right? Where we add them together for persons who successfully completed the program. So it's not going to be offered to somebody that has been breaking all of the rules. It must be the person that completes the project for the 1 year stint and abide by all of the rules and regulation and policies of the project. We matches that. We don't give you a cash in hand. What we do, we focus that grant fund transitional approach to 2 priority areas. One, which is transitioning into higher education. So if that person wants to go off to university, TAMCC, NULO, CDAC to do educational upgradement, or a situation where that person is at a point where they would like to get into a small business. So, for example, that person may want to go into providing power wash services. We bring in the power wash machine for you.
Listen, I can't.
Yes. So
You bring the materials for them.
Yeah, so we don't give them the cash in hand.
Right.
The person that want to go into livestock
So
rearing.
it's like a kickstart.
Right.
Okay.
So the person that wants to get into livestock rearing, we allow them to bring in the balehead from the service provider that you're purchasing the livestock from. We pay the livestock persons, you get the animal. For the person that want to get into, we had a number of persons, even in Carriacou, that have got into music production. Right? The black blingers and all of a number of persons, right? We purchase the keyboards, the computers and all of these things, and we actually transition that person into it. We don't stop there. We do connect them now to the WeiVybz office, where the WeiVybz office will now do the monitoring of these persons that move over to the WeiVybz. So after we fund them, we connect them to the WeiVybz program, and the WeiVybz program hold their hand and ensure that the business become viable. While some of them may have a job, but that small pockets of additional resources are important. We have persons right now that is providing printing services, printing of T-shirts and so forth, and they're doing very well. We have people that are in livestock rearing, where they indicated that they wanted the grant fund to go into the purchase of 2 cows. We purchased the two cows for the person. They kill the cow, had a market, and now they kill cows and they sell.
Right.
So they are into that area. We have persons that are providing power wash. We have persons that are into sewing, garment production. We have persons right now that are involved in a number of other viable areas. Honey production. We have persons involved in that. We have persons involved in agriculture. The purchase of pumps to run it from the river so that they can actually ensure that they have that water up to the farm.
Right.
So that Empower project continues to actually polish the diamonds in a real sense of its terms to our young men that we have taken from the blocks and actually brought into that Empower project. Right now, we've recently taken Empower 2.0. 350 young men from the blocks. And our aim was to take 500 young men. But I can say to you, we went on the blocks, and sometimes you cannot even see some of the young men, because sometimes some people ask us, where did you get 500 young men? And I say to them, because of the responsibility of our ministry in ensuring that we secure a meaningful future for every young Grenadian, we actually ensured that the 500 persons was secured.
Right.
And that is the reason we took 350 now.
There's somebody that has been calling the line, and I want us to take at least
Yes.
one call because we don't have much time left. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. I didn't hear much of the program this morning because I was tied up, but I just quickly want to say to Ambassador Beharry, as he knows, I always call him, and I'm sure he'll recognize the voice.
Yes, yes.
I'm just hoping that there would be a list printed, I'm not sure where, of all of the different programs there are for youth in this country and the total number of young men and young women under the age of 35 who are involved. Because I imagine at some time in the not-too-distant future, there'll be some efforts and concentration and perhaps what I would call the most senior persons, the mothers and fathers of these young people, mostly mothers. But we really need a comprehensive list published everywhere of all of the programs. For example, the Empower program, if there are 2,000 people in it, then you have the Imani training program. And I always make sure that I call it training because some people call it employment, which it is not. It's a training program.
Right.
And all of the other programs, the Young Farmers program, the ones who've got monies, grants, and also loans for different things, agriculture, and training to be captains of boats and everything. Let's have the numbers publicized far and wide so that people can be struck dumb when they realize all that is happening. Thank you. Have a blessed day.
You
Bye.
are welcome.
Perfect.
And I agree with the caller. I think, I mean, you guys have started in more engagement, media engagement, to speak about all of the things that you guys have available. But we all know that in Grenada, there is this pattern, there is this trend that when positivity is being spoken about, the numbers are few and far between.
Yep.
But if it's something negative, we all up in the thousands and hundreds of thousands looking at whatever it is and participating participating actively in it. So I believe that more measures should be put in place for more communication, whether you guys do a weekly newsletter. I see GIS has been doing their weekly newsletter and putting out information into the public. Ministry of Health has also been doing a newsletter. Now I saw one, I think last week, I saw them put out a newsletter. Maybe it's
we
time.
Do have one? No.
You do?
Yeah, we have been producing
out
producing our newsletter and sending it out also.
Well, I feel like you need to give me. Let me help to share it.
No
for
problem.
You. Yeah, because I haven't seen it honestly, and I think so that says something, because I just go far and wide looking for everything, right? So it means that more needs to be done in terms of reaching the populace, in terms of what you guys have available, including handouts and leaflets to meet the people on the ground who are not engaged on social media and not engaged on a technological level to see the things that you guys post. These things need to be done. To kind of boost your PR just a little bit more, because PR is everything you do.
Everything.
Every little thing that you do is PR. So I think that you guys, you're doing a good job. You've started the work, but of course, much more needs to be done.
We would have just strengthened our unit, PR. So we actually have a team of four persons in our PR unit now. I remember a few years ago we had none. Right. Then we started with one, and we are now we do have a graphic designer that focuses on all of our designing of our communications. We do have an editor. We have a junior journalist, and we do have the head of PR unit.
Wow.
Right? So we are aligning strategically to actually capitalize on the game.
So we expect to see more from you
Definitely.
Absolutely.
A lot more is placed, a lot more responsibilities and outcomes will place on the PR side of our programs. Just to also reply to the caller, it's also important to note that we have already compiled a listing of all of our programs. Right. And so we have gotten to the point where we actually formulated a committee, and we have been meeting to actually bring synergy to all of the entities and individuals and organizations that are providing opportunities for youth. So we have gotten to that point. Okay. So we didn't want to just keep it to the point where we just want to share the information as it relates to the programs that are available from the Ministry of Youth. Right. No, we wanted to also share the opportunities available for youth throughout Grenada, regardless of who, whether it is the NT, whether it is the SIDAC, whether it is every opportunity available. Right. And what we're going to focus on is to providing a weekly or so photo, monthly status update as it relates to beneficials, the people that are benefiting from us. We have already started. Every week we release one of our participants in one of our programs sharing about the outcomes of the projects and programs and so forth, and that is ongoing every single week. We have also logged on to Power FM every single Wednesday. We are on MTV, VOGFM every single Friday. So we have standardized weekly.
I find mine missing, so I feel I need to establish that connection.
I have been saying it to you for years, right? So we have weekly on MTV, we have weekly on Power FM, and we are moving very swiftly to have weekly on other radio stations. So people will be hearing from the Division of Youth every single week about our progress, because we are doing quite a lot. Right. But you do understand that our biggest challenge, regardless of where you go, will be the adequate finances to effectively share the public relations side. So what we are doing at the moment is to look at cost-effective solutions as the Facebook Live and the WhatsApp Live and all of these things in them, so that we can actually move the PR unit from where we are to where we actually want to go to become the mouthpiece of the Division of Youth. But very soon, we will be second to none in this beautiful island of Grenada.
Wonderful. And somebody once said to me, and I've proven it, that sometimes it's easier to work smart than to work hard. Yeah. So of course you have to find the innovative ways, and of course if you're and PR costs a lot.
A lot of money.
It's very expensive. People look at it and say, okay, well, just put that out there and put this out here, but it is a very expensive feat.
And what I can say to you, we just actually got to the point of actually having our own studio. So we at the Division of Youth, we have our own production room, total top of the line lighting, total top of the line computers, top of the line resources, so that our PR persons can work, because it's
Right.
one thing to ask for something to be done, but it's another thing that to know that the people don't have the resources
To get it
do
done.
it. But what I can say to you, we are now at the point where we are fit for purpose, and in the coming weeks, persons can expect to see quite a lot when it comes to the public relations, communications, and marketing of all of our initiatives at the Division of Youth. So,
All right.
yeah.
We only have about 3-4 more minutes, and
Jesus
we have 2 more things on the
Yes.
on the list. The fly and the social unit.
Mm-hmm.
In 2 minutes per program, just give us a quick outline of what those 2 initiatives are.
Right, so definitely we have the Project Fly that is currently in progress. At the moment, we have a number of persons as part of the Project Fly itself that is engaging. They're doing the CVQs. We have just about 30 in Carriacou, and we have almost 41 persons implemented in Willie. So in truth and in fact, we have almost 75 persons as part of Project Fly now. When we started Project Fly used to be implemented for 3 months.
Right.
Now we have gotten to the point of rolling out Project Fly at 1 year. So we give a longer period where we can help raise young people. So at the moment we have it implemented in Willis, in St. George, and we have it also in Windward in Carriacou with these persons. We have a number of them that have started training at NILO, as well as TAMCC, as well as SIDAC, and other training providers. The beauty of Project Fly is that a lot of the training, Project Fly is delivered in the community.
Right.
So we try not to move persons out of their comfort zone with Project Fly, because we've realized that not every program will actually realize the fullest potential when persons have to move from where they are in the communities to another community where they actually have to go on a daily basis. So Project Fly provides that opportunity. In the past, they will do training, but now we have provided a lot of training in the CVQ areas. So we looked at the demand side. We looked at where there are opportunities. We would have shortlisted it, and we would have asked the trainees as to which areas they think that they would like to get involved in.
Right.
But it's in keeping to the demands of the market at the moment. So that is what Project Fly is all about. And I can say to you, we started off already in October, and we are doing very, very, very good. As of October 12, we started off with our the placement of our Project Fly participants, so they too get an opportunity to be on the job and placement sites and gain the experience that are needed. And then we looked at a number of participants that are in a number of training in sports department, in administration department, various other service providers, where we actually can see real outcome coming from it. We have a number of organizations partnering with us for the implementation of it. Right. And we are looking at ensuring that the lifestyles of our young persons that are young people that are a part of Project Fly, we realize some transformation, because we are looking at the whole sustainability concept, and we believe in order to do that, we have to be able to transform our young people from Project Fly.
All right, social unit.
Our social care unit, yes. as we highlighted before, provide supports, psychosocial services to all of our participants in all of our programs, headed by Ms. Tickles and our counselor, Ms. Joseph there, and our social care officers. And then we do have some field mentors where persons can walk into their schedule on a weekly basis, where they can see our social care officers as well as our counseling. We have our social care officers that have been in the court, actually even lobbying on behalf of our young people, standing in the gap where young people can see that even if, yes, I don't have a mother or father standing with me, we do have persons that care about you, and this government really and truly cares about young people, to the point where our persons are in the courthouse, we are in lobbying, lobbying. Even right now, we have gotten to the point where even the court will actually, before sentencing a young man to the prison, they would ask that young man to be redirected to our Empower project, where we can actually work along with them if they are not showing a lot of signs as it relates to the development. Then the court wouldn't have an opportunity. But we have the partnership now where we are working together, rather than just sending a young man to the juvenile center or sending that young man to the prison based on the nature of the crime, right? We do have working relationship very closely with the court, and I think we have been reaping a lot of benefits at the moment. We do have young people that have been in the court. They have been did not sentence them to the prison or to the juvenile center. However, they would have actually redirect them to the Empower Project or the Imani program. And today we have some of them that are actually our TAM-CC and so forth, achieving CVQs and associate degrees. Now, if we had only deemed the light on these kind of people, where our future of this beautiful country was going to be. Wow. That is why we are here. As a responsible government, as a government that truly cares, as a government that talk the talk, but we put our money where our mouths are and we walk the walk.
Yes. Wonderful. What a way to end. Guys, we have come to the end of our program. And of course, the Hard Talk family, thanks you so much, Roydon. You all see why I love to interview Roydon.
But before we even end, I want to make sure, I always like to end by saying that the Division of Youth started with $15,000.
Wow.
Years ago, we started with only $15,000. Today, our allocation for the direct Division of Youth have been over $30 million, right? And it doesn't end there. That is only with the Division of Youth. The investment that government makes in the area of education, CVQ training, NT opportunities for training and development, the youth in agriculture, while this is not with us, under education, it is youthful. Right. The Ministry of Social Development that is providing support to young people. The young people that is getting support to go to school and all of these things. If you tally these amount of money and you indicate that this government really don't care about young people, then what is? Because the amount of persons that we are ensuring receiving a CVQ right now, and if you only average it, 5,100 person in the program. Our aim is to ensure that everyone gets out of the program with a CVQ. CVQs are expensive. If you multiply on average about $5,000 by 5,100 persons, you would realize the significant investment that government continues to make into the transformation and sustainable livelihood of the young people throughout the length and breadth of Grenada. And as long as we are there, we will be continuing at the Division of Youth. We will be continuing to provide real, meaningful opportunity for every young Grenadians within the ages of 18 to 35, regardless of your political affiliation, regardless of your religion, your creed, your race. These have their place. But our place at the Division of Youth is to provide an opportunity for every single Grenadian within the ages of 18 to 35. The Division of Youth Development, located on the third floor of the ministerial complex, and the Imani Secretariat, located at the Youth Development Center, while our Youth Biz Hub, located downstairs the pavilion at the Alston George Park in St. Mark. We are waiting to welcome you with a pleasant smile and willing to work with every one of you.
Wonderful. Well, there's no better way to put it. And guys, I love interviewing Roydon because he has so much information and he just has a way with words. Guys, we've come to the end of our program. It's always a pleasure being here with you. As we say here every day, in whatever you say and whatever you do, be safe, be secure. We always want to be talking with you, but we don't ever want to be talking about you. Please do enjoy the remainder of your day and stay tuned for the national report. Have a wonderful day, guys.
You're listening to Hard Talk Radio.
Minister responsible for hospital and community health services promises greater accountability in the sector. We'll have details to this story and more in the national report. for Tuesday, October 20th, 2020. I am Rikisha St. Louis. Newly appointed Health and Community Services Minister, Honorable Delma Thomas, says a new period of accountability is ahead for the health sector. During the government's weekly post-cabinet briefing, Minister Thomas emphasized that amidst the many challenges that surface within the sector, the management team will be moving forward with plans to be more accessible and accountable. She says this can boost confidence in healthcare delivery and the services offered at various health facilities.
When it comes to hospital services and community health services, let the period of recrimination and pointing fingers be over. Let a new period of accountability and possibility begin. We are committed and we will work to ensure that we provide the necessary services that is needed for healthcare. As we go forward, as we look at the different challenges that confront us in the healthcare sector, as we also appreciate that it cannot only be about hospital services, we also have to look at prevention. We also have to look at those issues, for example, those lifestyle diseases like diabetes and hypertension that after the lockdown we have seen scores of persons falling sick with stroke and other complications of those lifestyle diseases. And so education must be an integral part of what we do at the level of the community.
Attention will also be given to transporting patients from the sister isle of Carriacou to mainland for medical attention. Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell will embark on a series of town hall meetings across the country starting Tuesday evening. During the sessions, the Prime Minister and his cabinet colleagues will provide ministerial updates to the population, while at the same time allow attendees an opportunity to ask questions. Speaking ahead of the first town hall meeting, Dr. Mitchell said, and I quote, "It is important to have continuous engagement with the general public on the programs and policies of government. Ordinarily, there is a lot to report on the work of government, and during this particularly challenging time, it is even more important to have dialogue at the community level. I therefore encourage persons to attend and have their voices heard as we work together to further advance the country's development." Unquote. The panel for Tuesday's town hall meeting will include Mrs. Pamela Moses, Minister with responsibility for needy assistance, uniform allowance, special projects and ICT, and Honorable Anthony Boson, who is the parliamentary representative for St. Patrick West. Members of the public who plan to attend are reminded to adhere to the COVID-19 protocols, wear a mask, and maintain social distance. Continuing the news, Cabinet has approved the contracting of services of pediatric surgeon Dr. Jose Tristan to perform surgeries in pediatric cases. It falls under plans to reconstruct the surgical department at the General Hospital. Mrs. Hannah Julianson Paul is the acting permanent secretary in the Ministry of Health and Social Security with responsibility for hospital and community health services. She says since COVID-19, children in Grenada have not been able to access surgeries and healthcare overseas under the World Pediatric Project.
We're going to also strengthen that department by hiring a pediatric surgeon / oncologist. So we're getting 2 in 1, yes, to improve and strengthen that department. Dr. Tristan, who is going to be the person delivering such service, he would be performing surgeries for pediatric cases. COVID has taught us that we need to have these sort of specialized service within our country, and because of that, these are some of the reasons that prompted us to recruit the service of Dr. Tristan. So he would be providing that service. The medical director already started collating the names of persons for that service.
The ministry is optimistic that the waiting period for surgeries can be reduced from close to 1 year to 3 months. PSM Paul said commencing November 2nd, there will be an increase in the surgical teams at the hospital.
We would have 3 surgical teams operating from the 2nd of November, and that approach would enable us to see a reduction in the waiting time for surgeries. We have all heard the complaints of the length of time that a person has to wait for a surgical procedure at our general hospital from the time they first interact with the public service. And we are putting these measures in place in order to reduce this waiting time. So we are proposing, and we know, as in everything, sometimes we have little technical difficulties that would happen from time to time, but we are proposing that with that measure, we are going to see persons interacting with the public service from the time that you interact with the surgeon. If you are diagnosed with cancer and need a surgical intervention, your waiting time would be between 2 to 1 month. If for ordinary surgical procedure other than the cancer related, we are looking at a waiting time from the time you interacted with the surgeon to up to about 3 months.
Improvement will also be made to the oncology department, laboratory and x-ray services, among others. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Protect yourself and our community from COVID-19. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water are not available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 70% alcohol. Use a tissue when blowing your nose, sneezing, or coughing. Immediately discard the tissue properly and wash or sanitize your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Let's do our part to ensure that each and every Grenadian remains healthy. To stay up to date, visit the Government of Grenada's webpage or the Ministry of Health's Facebook page. For more information, contact the Ministry of Health's hotline by calling 53-VIRUS. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by the Ministry of Health.
Welcome back. The government of Grenada is expressing gratitude to former Senator Kim George, who recently tendered her resignation from the Upper House of Parliament. A government representative in the Senate since March 2018, Ms. George has resigned due to the great demands of her profession and Senate preparation. Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell said, and I quote, "We are grateful for her valuable contribution to the discourse at the national level. Ms. George brought a great level of maturity and balance to the debates in the Senate. Her contributions will be sorely missed, but we understand that with her career demands as a lawyer and her active role in senatorial discussions, she no longer feels capable to give 100% to both. We appreciate her years of service and wish her the very best as she focuses on growing her private practice." Unquote. Government has not yet identified another representative. However, when this is given consideration, the person will be someone who can contribute positively to the national conversation. There are 13 members in Grenada's Senate, 7 of whom are appointed on the advice of the Prime Minister, 3 on the advice of the opposition leader, and the remaining 3 on the advice of the Prime Minister, having consulted with the organizations that he considers the senators should represent. Finally, in the news, the independent review team convened by the chairman of the Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, says while the fundamentals of CXC are sound, there is an urgent need to address concerns within the regulatory structure of the council. Sir Hilary Beckles says the review also revealed that communication between the various elements of the system could have been more effective since misunderstandings contributed to anxiety. He says the issues at hand must be urgently addressed.
In this regard, within the 23 recommendations made, plus other recommendations derived from the meeting of the council following its discussion of the report, that there is now a very urgent need, an immediate need, to address all of the specific concerns raised by stakeholders, students, schools, principals, teachers, parents, and to address all of these within the regulatory structure of CXC that are provided for such discussions, to address them with immediate urgency.
The findings of the report were presented during a virtual media conference on Sunday. Dr. Wayne Wesley, Registrar and Chief Executive Officer of the Caribbean Examinations Council, spoke to the way forward.
We will reduce the fees associated with the request for a review by 50%. So now the request for a review will be $15 US, and those persons who would have already paid for their review, the difference will be refunded. It is also important to note that the review process will include a remark of the review script. In that regard, if the resulting grade remains the same, this candidate will be advised, and if the resulting grade is increased, the candidate will be advised, as well as a full refund of the review fee.
That story just ended the national report for Tuesday, October 20th. Let's recap the top story. Minister responsible for hospital and community health services promises greater accountability in the sector. On behalf of the entire news and production team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party.